Today we're watching We Cannot Do Another Epidemic.
I want you to take yourself back to a certain date in 2020. March 13th, 2020. I should add that this mostly...
The day the world stopped. The day the world stopped spinning for a smooth year.
applies to people in America. You woke up that Friday morning like every other Friday of that year. Dragged yourself out of bed to the bathroom to prepare yourself either for school or for work. While in school, your friend looks at you and says,
"Yo, Uzi dropped the turn on take. You gotta listen to that."
You listen to it while in class to see if it is really hard, and indeed it is. This would be Lil Uzi's last good album, but you don't know that. As the day starts to end in school, the principal comes on the PA system and lets everyone know, due to a little virus called COVID-19, school would be closed for 2 weeks. You cheer with your friends, hyped that you're basically getting a week break in the middle of the year for free, not knowing what it will turn into. If you worked a job, you either got an email from your employer that the company would be switching to remote work temporarily, or you got an email that you were fired and to get out immediately. This little virus would then turn into one of the worst pandemics to happen in over a century. And after it ended, the world all promised itself that we'd be prepared and this shouldn't happen not only in our century, but many to come.
Health officials around the world are racing to contain a deadly outbreak of hantavirus that's linked to this cruise ship in the Atlantic.
Yeah, so if you haven't heard of it by now, we're having another bit of a virus issue around the world.
I don't think we can handle another virus. I think there's a couple of things that took a major hit when we did have to shut down for the pandemic. One was communication. Two, introverted people, those levels skyrocketed. And just overall being a normal, interactions with other people, it just didn't. I don't think it got any better. It wasn't already good, but it just plummeted a lot more.
Not including COVID, it seems like every couple of years, there's always a virus panic hitting the whole world. In the 2010s, you had the Ebola pandemic, which happened in Africa, but cases spread all over the world. The most racist swore if they interacted with an African person, they would get it and die next week. I gotta admit though, that Ebola song did kind of go hard. You had the measles outbreak in 2019, where a record amount of people were getting it around the world. In America, New York got hit the most, and there were 1,200 cases across 31 states. Crazy how this didn't matter, because next year's virus would make that outbreak look like a little cakewalk. And now the newest panic we have is this virus called the hantavirus. Here's some info. Hantavirus has been a thing since the 1950s and was fully identified by a doctor in 1978. There's been cases everywhere under the sun since it got identified. It's spread by the worst creatures we know, of course, rodents. And you get it by inhaling their waste in the air or by directly touching it. Don't know why the you'd be directly.
What is happening? Don't get me wrong. I understand rats can fit into the most smallest of places, but you're touching feces, you're smelling the feces, you're close enough to pick up a whiff of it to the point that you're quite literally obtaining a virus from it is a different breed. It's a different level.
Rat. At that point, you just ask for the death sentence. I don't feel bad. And it's only supposed to be from rodent to human until cases started happening from human to human. They called it the Andes version of the virus, and the first case was identified in 1995 of someone getting it from human contact. It happens here and there, but it's way more rare than getting it directly from rats yourself. So you may be wondering why everyone's panicking about it. Well, we can fully blame this dumbass who decided to make a video talking about a hantavirus outbreak on a cruise ship he went on. His name is Jake Rosemary, and he decided to go on a cruise with a bunch.
I saw that video on Twitter. Why is he a dumbass? I thought niggas was just trying to express his emotions and the circumstances he was in. He's a dumbass? Hold on, let me see what Tommy has to say.
Of other people from different countries. Not knowing that a couple had the virus, they brung it on the ship and all hell broke loose. The cruise was not cheap either. They must have been using today's sponsor Current to save up for this. If you've ever wished payday came soon, treating someone. So with him panicking because everyone got told to quarantine until further notice, he made an update to the outside world talking about his experience.
I normally wouldn't make a video like this, but I feel like I need to say something, so I wrote a few things down. I am currently on board the MV Hondius, and what's happening right now is very real for all of us here. We're not just a story. We're not just headlines. We're people. People with families, with lives.
Low-key, no one would have known about this that much if he didn't make the video, but now that's all anyone's worried about. People aren't over a little world-stopping moment from 5 to 6 years ago and don't want it again. It doesn't even take just this. Everyone was panicking when they announced a new strain of COVID like monkeypox. In a way, the whole world has World War II soldier PTSD on anything happening. Instead of hearing a helicopter and having a heart attack thinking you're in the war field, we hear a new virus drop and have PTSD of Among Us and those TikToks of which room you would sleep in the hardest. And also the lines he had in the videos what's really pissing people off. Because he said we're not just a story, we're people with families, lives, and friends. Like that isn't everyone in the world. Are y'all the only ones with families and friends? No one even knew about the headlines of story until you made this video, buddy. People's first reaction to hearing the story was saying a couple of things. One being do not dock the Pope because we don't want it to spread even more.
That's crazy. Nigga said, yeah, bro, I'm not gonna cap to you. Y'all can't come back. They said, stay on that ocean. Live, die on that ocean, but do not bring that shit back to us.
Other people said just dock it at one country and don't let them leave until it's solved. There's also people saying, f it, 150 people versus a potential 8 billion person pandemic. With a disease that's a 40% fatality rate, might I add, and can lay dormant in you without you knowing for weeks. In the wise words a man once said,
He's rapping now.
Nuke the whole generation.
Cruddy.
If it were up to me, I would.
Tommy, that's how you feeling? That's how you feeling? Because I saw a couple people bring, like, they're like, yo, you can't talk about it without bringing up a couple of solutions. I saw one when niggas said, send a missile. It is what it is. Send the missiles. Send the missiles. Like, get it all up out of here. Number two, they said, push that boat to an island and let those people live on that island. There is no coming back. They said, let those people live on that island. And I think that's crazy, okay? And what was number three? Number three, I think was like, yo, they just have to sit on that boat until they die. Like, they'll airdrop food, like, they'll give them sustenance, give them ways to live, but it's over. That's where you live now. That's your whole life.
Drop an atomic bomb on the whole generation.
Y'all are about to get so mad at me, and I know I don't post like this. I usually would post on my other page, but like, truthfully, sink the ship.
Oh my
Sink
God.
the ship, okay?
Sink the ship. Sink it. I don't care. I've seen enough. Sink the fucking ship.
I better sink that ship like it's a game of Battleship. F2, hit. I'm not even trying to be insensitive, but we cannot do this right now. We cannot do this right now.
it seems like the general public is taking this well. The PTSD people have over COVID is beyond what people could think. If you said this pre-2020, people would have thought you were crazy and a bad person. But now there's a lot of people saying they genuinely don't care, whatever it takes to stop a potential pandemic. And even though scientists and health organizations are saying it's a low chance to turn into another COVID, didn't y'all say that last time? If there was some horrible scenario where it did somehow turn into a pandemic, this would be way worse. A 40% fatality rate is diabolical. You got a 4 in 10 chance of dying. With COVID, unless if you were really old or really young, you didn't have to worry about it too much and could tank it. This would be a damn near mass extinction event in every country and there's still no cure. There's also other reasons I wouldn't want it to be a pandemic.
Yo, he's not lying. He's not. He's not, right? A 40% chance. That's damn near a coin flip. But if you would survive. Yo said, fuck it, like, this is what we needed to cut down on the human population. That's what we doing, fuck it.
At least in the US, there will be 0 safety precautions set here. People could barely handle the last lockdown and were going insane every day. And obviously, while it sucked for everyone, it was for a reason. This time, people are just gonna keep going outside every day and passing it like no tomorrow. We can guarantee there wouldn't be a lockdown order even if it was needed. We barely got one last time. The president was forced to do it by his team because people were dropping every day. And also, bleach didn't work as a cure.
Get the right folks who could. Right, and then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or?
Yeah, lockdown order or not, if I see thousands of dropping a day, my ass is staying inside. And even if there was a vaccine released, people wouldn't trust it and wouldn't take it. They think it's some secret plot to have everyone's blood injected with Satan's and at his will activate your chip and have you walk yourself to the pits of hell. People took one COVID vaccine and were doing the most, acting like their whole life was over and they never recovered. There was people faking that they had permanent violent seizures because of it. It would be kind of funny if there did so happen to be a pandemic and certain people don't trust the vaccine released. Because this ain't like COVID, it's a 40% fatality rate. Your ass is just gonna die. Those 60-year-old MAGA boomers are gonna drop like flies. We also definitely are not getting COVID checks like last time. You're gonna have to thug it out, and if you can't make it and you don't have a job, it was a fun life for you, I guess. It's not like the check would do much though. Right now in this state of the economy and around the world, we have certain problems going in certain parts of the world. Like, people literally would not be able to afford to go through it again. At least pre-COVID, the economy was in decent shape. You can guarantee though, someone's boss is gonna say no to remote work and tell them they have to come in. Something also that would be annoying is having to get used to social interactions again. Everyone was low-key antisocial after the lockdown order.
As hell. People were antisocial as hell. Like, it's not even just being in someone's personal space or talking to somebody that like it was a little too close. Niggas just forgot how to communicate.
Were lifted because we were inside for so long. You had to learn how to communicate again because it just felt weird. Maybe some people did better, but I know for me it was rough. Transitioning from being on Discord all day with the homies playing games, not touching a speck of sunlight, to driving places and hanging out in public was a bit of an adjustment. Some people say they still ain't recovered since back then. Yeah, if you still think you're recovering from your antisocialness from COVID, you're probably just antisocial. It would also be horrible for the youth considering how much they got held back from it. Everyone older in Gen Z just barely made it out. Only 30% of Gen Alpha kids can read proficiently currently. Throwing them in another lockdown in their childhood is gonna be a
30%? Hell no. Don't worry. My nephew's gonna be able to read real well, real motherfucking well.
sentence. They might end up being the most failed generation by society's problems. I got hit by COVID in my junior/senior year, but at least I can say growing up through my core development years, I was good. I couldn't imagine my first time trying to learn the ABCs was through a Zoom class. This time they're gonna have AI too, so all the kids are gonna cheat on their assignments. The methods people used to have to do in 2020 to cheat were absurd. We became scientists in our own ways. People would pre-record them doing work on Zoom when they were sleeping. This fat guy in my gym class in high school decided to pre-record himself working out and just played it on loop to pass his class. That fat guy totally wasn't me or anything. I didn't do that. People would smear Vaseline on their cameras and tell the teacher the camera was broken so they could cheat. You don't need to do all that. Now that we got ChatGPT, it'll do the work for you. I do remember those Zoom times nostalgically though. My teacher's classes got rated at least 7 times through the year. I'll end it off with some positive news though. The reason why health organizations and governments are saying this won't be COVID 2.0 is because they have decades of research on this compared to COVID-19 that was brand new. So the world isn't starting.
Okay, so we're not starting from scratch. It seems as if that we actually have a chance, some type of chance, because 40% is damn near a coin flip. Bruh, like, let's be honest. If you were flipping a coin and it was heads or tails and you had a 60% chance of winning, right, and you get to win $1 million and you have a 40% chance of losing and dying, trust, majority of people aren't flipping that coin. They're not. Not a nigga like me. A real nigga like me, I'm flipping that coin. Because what do you mean 60% for $1 million?
Zero information
so
on it and have to rush and figure out what to do. Also, since it's been contained to this one ship, it isn't jumping from hundreds of people to hundreds of people like before. If you were in the vicinity of someone with COVID, as you know, your fate to get it was guaranteed. I'll never forget the one time I got it. It was from one of my dumbass homies who decided to pull up to the group meet with it without telling any of our friends, and he gave it to literally everyone there. With hantavirus, it's mainly people with romantic partners who get it or being around someone who's sick with it. So if you're lonely and get no play, pat yourself on the back. You may have just prevented yourself from dying. Who knew being a loser would save me and you? COVID also spread way faster than this, so we would see a lot more cases if it was like it. I remember waking up and checking COVID cases. It would go from 3 to 10 to 200 to 1,000 to 10,000. And technically a mutation could happen to the virus and a new one could pop up. But most studies show when a virus gets mutated, it either stays the same or turns into nothing. At least hopefully that's the case, or humanity's in for one hell of an extinction event. Anyways, that's gonna be it.
I'm fucking crying. Yo, good looks, Tom. Jesus, I'm fucking crying. Good looks, Tommy, for keeping me updated. I appreciate you, Brody. You feel me? Tell me what your guys' thoughts are in the comments below. How you guys would handle the situation. If we should nuke the boat. If we should, if we should airdrop and take grace. They didn't ask for the fucking virus. But that being said, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Like up, sub up. I'm back around, and I'll catch you on the next one. Grit your teeth, chase your dreams.